Hi, welcome to Gut Questions. I'm Parker, a friend and fan of William DiPaolo, PhD, an immunologist studying the gut microbiome up at the University of Washington in Seattle, the UW. So in this episode, Will is going to go over what is and what is not the microbiome. So it's really an introduction, very much microbiome 101, if you will. I also asked Will what he thinks people are talking, because my dog is kind of throwing around his bone marrow. I hope that's not annoying. I need him occupied, but it's kind of loud. So hopefully this is okay. But people are always referring to the microbiome, and I started to wonder, are they actually talking about a specific microbial community, one that resides in the gut? Are they actually talking about the gut microbiome and gut health in these articles for the most part? So I wanted to know this because the thing is, there are a lot of communities, microbial communities, that make up the human microbiome. There's the skin microbiome, there's the vaginal microbiome, the oral microbiome, there's the nasal microbiome, lung, eye, pineapple shrimp, lemon shrimp. That's my puppy. Coconut shrimp. Anyway, so yes, maybe there are communities not even discovered yet, or maybe they're just not being researched. So what do those headlines, what are they really talking about? I, of course, have my own opinions, but wanted to know what Will's opinions are. So with that, I give you my friend and boss, Dr. Will DiPaolo. Hello, we're recording.
Hi.
Okay, so we're recording now. Hi. You know what I like is that your chair and your curtains are doing this nice frame thing.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they're framing you and then actually pointing directly towards you. Very nice. It looks good.
I did that on purpose.
Yeah, no, I know. You're all about set design. I get
Right,
it.
exactly. This is not my bedroom, it's just a set. I'm not at a hotel.
Oh, that's a Zoom.
It's a Zoom background.
It's a template.
It's called opulent. Hollywood glam.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It looks like it's a little sunny there.
It's just the glare from the clouds.
Is it sunny there?
No, it's not. It's just the clouds are really bright. No, it's gonna be sunny here tomorrow, or like a little bit.
Okay. Oh yeah, I thought we were gonna have some June gloom, but it's actually sunny out.
Yeah. Right, California is always sunny.
All right. At least down here in the southern part.
Southern part. Yeah. So you're cutting in and out a little bit. And I don't know if it's my internet or your internet. So just but you're fine now. I can adjust my thing accordingly. Okay. So I'll just let you know if you start to like freeze and then start again, I'll let you know. Or if I do that, let me know.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll just jump in then.
All right.
A few minutes into this. We've only been talking for a couple of minutes, I guess. So I guess I'm not jumping right in. But so I wanted to start with a little bit of background on the microbiome, which is actually my first question, because I'm curious maybe what your thought is when you read about or hear someone say the microbiome. What are they talking about? And that's kind of a two-part question. So first, what is the microbiome? But second, do you think that people, when they say that, are talking about the gut microbiome? And this is sort of just your opinion, but I just wonder what people are talking about in news media or social media when they're saying, oh, the microbiome, da, 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 da. Right. They can't be talking about all. Yeah.
So I think, I mean, you have to remember, like about 15 years ago, this field didn't even exist. So it's a brand new sort of discipline within the biological sciences and the biomedical sciences. And it's, so basically the microbiome is defined as any organism, or it's I guess the way we can say it is it's all of the microbes, which include fungus, yeast, protists, and bacteria that live within or inside of us that help with our daily functions and our health. So this includes skin, this includes your oral cavity, your vaginal canal, this includes your ears and all these sort of things. Like wherever you can have microbes on you that live normally, that's your microbiome. So the microbiome is all those organisms, but more than that, it's actually the DNA and the proteins and everything that they have that contributes to your health. So it's bigger than just the bug itself. It's really the genetic program of all of these bugs together on your body, giving you these beneficial effects, these contributing towards your health. I think nowadays when people say microbiome, they do mean gut. I think they're referring to gut or your intestinal microbiome, because what you'll see is many times they'll say skin microbiome, specifically if the article is about skin, or they'll say, but if they just say microbiome, I think they're pretty much kind of defaulting to the intestine. Because I don't know if people are making that distinction and like, you know, if that the microbiome is not just probiotics, it's actually viruses, it's actually yeast, it's actually all of these things in their genetic material. That's pretty much what it is. Now, people can use the word microbiota, and that's different than the microbiome. So your microbiota, again, it's more about the bug itself, and usually people are referring to bacteria in that sense. The study of the fungal microbiome is called the mycobiome because mycoplasma, myco, it's I think if you look at Greek or whatever, myco has something to do with fungus, but it's myco, and then the virome is the viral. I didn't take Latin, so the viral microbiome is the virome. So you have the virome, the mycobiome, and the microbiome, and
Wait, what
so
about
it's easy to get confused.
yeah. What about yeasts? Or wait, yeah, yeast.
It's
They,
myco.
it's still fungus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeast and fungus are the microbiome, yeah. So they
Okay.
and people are finding a lot of interesting stuff with yeast and disease, certain diseases, and also just the sort of interplay between yeast and bacteria. It seems to be pretty important.
Okay. So your focus is the gut microbiome, and you've just mentioned a bunch of the other human microbiomes. So one of the things that I was curious about, and this might be an opinion question too, I don't know, but I feel like in the news media and the social media, the gut microbiome is linked to so many different diseases and or such and such bodies or systems in the body. You know, we touched on the fact that you had started your research in college in the brain and that you've now moved to the gut. And of course, there's that gut-brain axis connection. So there's one system, the digestive system and the nervous system. It just seems to me, you know, the average layperson reading that the gut microbiome is the one that seems to be the most expansive and have the farthest reach to affect so many different things. And then wondering, is that actually true, I guess, or is that just because it's the microbiome that is currently the most studied?
I think that's it's an interesting question, and I think that sometimes with research, the lowest hanging fruit is often the most picked fruit, obviously, and so and there are definitely facets of that within the microbiome and research. But I do think if you think about what the microbiome can do, it can do a lot of things that do affect different parts of the body. So as far as like, let's say metabolism. So the gut will drains into the portal vein, right? So that, and that goes through the liver. And so that kind of filters some stuff that's coming out of that's being absorbed through the gut. So like any bacteria that translocate or any, toxins and food, things like that, nutrients, it will go through the portal vein and it gets absorbed and gets filtered through the liver. So that in and of itself means that the liver and the brain, the liver and the gut have a very close connection, right? And so obviously food, metabolism, digestion, liver, that all kind of goes together. So then you have, things get dumped into the blood. So then that's going to affect your circulatory system. So that makes, sense that there's a gut circulatory system connection. And then the nervous system, we have a vagal nerve that runs basically from our brain to our gut, and that helps control, and vice versa. There's effects that can go from the gut to the brain, and effects that can go from the brain to the gut. And those help control things like satiety, so how full you are, hunger, peristalsis of your intestines for motility. And then more, what people have really been focusing on is the amount of neurotransmitters that get made in the intestine that are important. So these are things like serotonin, which controls like your happiness and prevents depression. That's mostly made, like I think most of it's made in the intestine. So all
Okay.
those feel good feelings are made in the intestine, and then those affect the nervous system.
Mostly.
Basically, it makes sense because the function of the gut is like absorption, digestion. There's the immune system that's there. And so basically all of these things do connect to almost every system. So I think that's why you see it touching a lot of these systems that are very distant. As far as how important or is the microbiome driving every function of these other organs, I don't know. And I don't think any of us know. And I think that's where you get into the fact that there's a lot of research going on out there, and so people are drawing conclusions, and you just have to read those studies and make sure that they're strong studies in order to make the conclusions that they're making.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, that's where all the nutrients that you're ingesting are getting absorbed during that.
Right. So energy, all your energy, and being able to get up off the chair at the end of the Zoom call and walk out the door. I mean, that takes energy. Right? I guess we're all using less energy since we've been sitting in front of Zoom for a year, but
yeah.
So then I think isn't there, haven't they been calling like isn't there a pandemic associated weight gain that's people have been talking about like
for a while. So I think I've seen headlines that are sitting is the new cancer, and that's been a headline for the past few years.
Well,
not just
definitely.
I think the pandemic really pushed that.
It would be interesting to take. Here's a study for you: the microbiome, like pre-Zoom meeting and post-Zoom meeting.
I bet it's totally. I know a lot of people who put on a little extra during the pandemic, and I'm sure a lot of people's nutritional habits may have changed.
Well, depression. I mean, I think the psychological effects of the pandemic probably have had huge impact on the gut microbiome, and also and just like mental health in general. I think we're going to see that come back to get us like down the road.
Oh, for sure. That's actually one thing that I'm really curious about is, do you know of any studies on the gut microbiome and things like that, depression?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of groups out there working on that connection, and that's not my specialty per se, but I think that that people are definitely paying attention to it, and it's because of that serotonin production and other neurotransmitters that are produced in the gut. Probiotics and like lactobacilli species are known to promote production of serotonin. So I know that's one line of research out there. Like, how can you modulate your neurotransmitters through diet, through gut health, and things like that. So that is definitely a huge area of the microbiome that we're now seeing a lot more people looking at and researching.
So I'd be really curious because, so obviously this is going to get a little personal here, but when I went to my doctor here, my MD, she's a naturopath. When I went to see her about gut issues, I did one of those 6 months, eliminate a bunch of stuff, slowly add it back in. Exactly, for 6 months. Nothing changed. Okay. And I don't know if it was what an MD would call IBS or what exactly was going on, but things weren't great. But nothing changed until I discovered all of the trauma and the PTSD from being adopted as an infant at 6 weeks old, right? So that a few weeks into that therapy, breaking down all those traumatic pathways and the PTSD and recovering from it, that is when things started to change in my gut. And so I started to wonder if looking at PTSD patients and their nutritional habits, if anyone is doing that, or it
Well, I'm
seems
sure
like an interesting thing
yeah,
to
I'm
start looking
sure
at.
that people are, I mean, there's so much research on the microbiome right now. Like you could probably pick any two random things and add microbiome to it, and people are studying.
It's true, yeah.
It's like, it's just ridiculous. And
What would you pick?
I
What would your
do-
two
we have a
random
wheel. We just have a wheel with different topics, and we spin it, and we put it together, and then we check. Hurricanes and microbiome. I'm sure it's been done.
Yeah. Hey, trauma, right there.
Trauma. And so I'm pretty sure that there have been studies on, or people are at least looking at PTSD, and because of the sort of emotional stress and stuff, things like that. I know as far as the brain is concerned, autism is definitely something people are looking at, and researching as far as the gut microbiome goes, and sort of, can we prevent autism, or can we help autistic children? The other thing is through the microbiome, and the other one would be epilepsy, and epileptic seizures and things like that. Can a diet that's enriched in certain bacteria prevent epilepsy in epileptic prone individuals? And I think that those are studies that people are studying, and I think there have been some interesting progression there in these fields. So,
do you remember the person who presented a few weeks ago? She was looking at microbiome and trauma. Do you remember at Microbiome Club?
yes, and
Do you know?
I feel bad because I don't remember exactly.
Me,
Yeah, it wasn't I remember the person doing like trans health, like,
oh, that's what it was. I think so. Yeah. No.
and that's like an interesting study because they can look at how hormones and like the hormonal replacement therapy, how that's affecting the gut microbiome, because you have individuals who are now under hormonal replacement. And so it's not necessarily neuronal, but it's endocrine, right? So it's definitely looking at the endocrine system and how those endocrine hormones are affecting the microbiome, and vice versa. Like if you have a certain microbiome, are you more susceptible, or like do those hormones have more of an impact than others, than other people who have a different microbiome? I guess it can go both ways as far as that. But yeah, I remember that, but I can't remember any trauma exactly.
Yeah, no, I thought I heard that and then I wasn't sure. So I'd be curious to maybe I'll email her. Maybe I could have her come on.
Oh yeah, we can. Yeah, that would be interesting.
That might be interesting.
Yeah, it would be interesting to follow up with some things like that. Yeah.
So yeah, the microbiome, it's pretty complex. I hope Will gave a good short introduction to it. If not, let me know and we can record another episode with some more detail. That's my dog still. If you want to view this material on your own, in some articles, I've posted some to the Gut Questions website, yourgutquestions.com, under the show notes. And I'll have this link, of course, in the description of the podcast. So over the next 3 episodes, we'll go over Will's projects in the lab: colorectal cancer, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD, and polyunsaturated fatty acids, PUFAs. We'll start with the colorectal cancer story, which we also call the cancer polyp story, or just Melissa's project, because Melissa Cordahi, oh my God, I'm sorry, Melissa. Melissa Cordahi, who graduated from the UW in 2019, was the graduate student on that project. And this project is awesome. It's fantastic. It's beautifully designed. You'll see that as Will walks us through it. And the best part is it goes against current science dogma. And you'll see that Will loves that. But it's just awesome. So check out that episode for sure, because it introduces a new concept around the gut microbiome. So yes. Oh, and the paper is going to be published very soon. So that's very exciting. So check into that one. See ya.